We're awaiting the arrival of Oscar Villarreal. He should be here in about 60 seconds. This was on the table for the police. Yeah. This is for our kids. They're keeping their wallet. All right. What? No, she's going to do the prayer. That's your responsibility. You have to do the prayer. It's an honor to do the prayer. Wow. Now, he'll go on some break.
Oh, no, I printed it.
It's good. All right. Should be. All right. Hey, Todd. We will go ahead and proceed and allow Oscar to join us in progress. All right. Thank you all for coming tonight. And here, Oscar Villarreal, ladies and gentlemen. Yes. All right. There you are. Thank you all for coming. It's 7:05 p.m. We're going to begin our council meeting, and to lead us with our invocation, our Public Works Director, Kelly Cowan.
Lord, I thank you for a beautiful town we get to represent. We pray that you will be with us tonight to guide us through the decisions that we make. We pray that we keep our citizens safe, our town preserved in its beauty. We pray that those you bless us, all those present tonight, and keep us safe as we head back to our homes. Amen.
Thank you. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance.
To the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. Janice, or Kelly, please note that all council members are present, but for Debbie Truman, who's in Australia. All right. Presentations. Todd Caves. Good evening. Thanks for coming. Please state your name and your address.
My name is Todd Caves. I live at 105 Fleetwood Drive. Mayor Murphy had talked to me several months ago about the Voight Center and the possibility of me offering some input in regards to marketing the Voight Center to maximize revenue for the city. I own and publish San Antonio Weddings magazine, and obviously the Voight Center would be an excellent opportunity for the bridal market. Through the process of exploring it, learning about it and stuff, we've kind of discovered that there are some issues going on that I wanted to share with the council, and we may have a solution for you tonight. We've talked to event planners that have said they've contacted City Hall and they never get a call back. And I'm not blaming anybody at City Hall, because everybody has responsibilities, and this is a new endeavor for the city and stuff. But for the Voight Center to be successful, you do need to have some key people in place that are there to sell it. Sell it to the bride, sell it to business opportunities, whoever needs space. And in regards to that, I have asked Anne Marie's catering company to come out and to talk to you tonight about what they do, where there could be an agreement between the two companies that they would manage it for you, they would sell it for you, be excellent opportunity for the city to generate very good revenue off of it. So without further ado, I'm going to ask Holly and Ruben to come up from Anne Marie's, and they'll talk to you about what they do.
All right. Thank you, Todd.
Thank you for allowing us to speak tonight. I have brought some information for y'all. I can hand it out now, or I can hand it out at the end of the meeting if you'd like. We have been in business 27 years. We are Anne Marie's Catering. We own and operate a banquet facility nearby, right off 281 in Bitters. We're a stone's throw away. I did visit your lovely facility and met Kelly this morning. And he is a very knowledgeable man, and I can actually tell he takes very much great pride in that facility. It's just in meeting him this morning. But because we have a facility nearby, and we've been in the business 27 years, we have relationships with event planners, managers. We constantly turn away business because we cannot handle business. So there's a lot of business out there. So when I toured your venue this morning, Holly had already been there, had met with Chris and Kelly before, and it is a lovely venue. The one thing that we don't offer is an outdoor ceremony site, and you offer that. So you have a beautiful venue, state-of-the-art technology, and a beautiful setting. And today's bride is, because of the internet age, not patient. So it's an instant gratification generation. It really is. And like I said, I've been in the business 27 years. I am a college professor at St. Philip's College. I teach in this industry as well. And I understand what the bride is looking for. And we have that to offer. We have contracts and agreements with, right now we're doing Superior Health. There are training seminars in our building. They're always looking for places to meet. So there's lots of companies out there in the city looking for places to meet. So what we can offer you guys is an all-inclusive package that would include your venue, which would generate revenue for the city. We would provide the food. We would take on the work. Kelly would still do what he likes to do, the setups, and make sure it's run efficiently and taken good care of. But we would do all the meetings. We would do all the scheduling. We would do the planning. We would do the diagrams. We would do the stuff that's arduous and nobody really likes to do. But because we've been doing it for 27 years, it's second nature to us. So we've got diagrams, we've got technology, we've got computer programs that afford us the opportunity to do that. And what we would create, and it's today's trend, a lot of venues are going to all-inclusive packages, where they're partnering up with companies such as us, and they're paying, the guests are paying one price. So for that one price, they get the venue, they get food, they get linen, they get audiovisual, which you do have already. So they get everything included. And by letting someone like us, preferably us, but letting someone like us take over operations or assist you with operations, not necessarily, we don't want to take over anything. You guys have built a beautiful facility, but we can add more money to the coffers of your city. And by doing that, we do one package price. We will have one pricing for residents and one pricing for non-residents. So the residents continue to get their break, and they get the benefit for the beautiful facility their tax dollars paid for. But we would help, when it's not booked, to book it for weddings, business meetings. There's a lot of opportunity out there. I'm sure, as everyone here is aware of, this city is growing by leaps and bounds. I mean, we're expected to be at 2.5 million by 2040. It's 2019, and we're at 2 million already. So we are growing by leaps and bounds. Everybody realizes how beautiful it is here, so they're moving back down from California, East Coast, West Coast, Florida, anywhere. They're just trying to get here as fast as they can because of our economy. And so we're running out of places. We're running out of places where people can meet that are centrally located. There has been, and Todd and I were just talking about it before the meeting today, there has been a plethora of places built out on 46, out there in the hill country. You offer the hill country environment and feel right here in central San Antonio, in north side San Antonio. They don't have to go very far. You offer everything that they want. We've got packages, prices, we've got suggestions and recommendations on how we can both make money. And of course, I'm in business to make money, just like every other entrepreneur. But I can also help you as a city make more money in your coffers and benefit from your investment in this beautiful facility. If anyone's got any questions, I'd be happy to answer them for you. Yes, Eleni.
What is the name of your company?
It's Anne Marie's Catering.
Were you at the Botanical Gardens?
We ran Botanical Gardens for 9 years. Yes,
Your
ma'am.
food was delicious.
Thank you very much.
You know, in conversations, I thank you guys for coming. In conversations with Todd over the last several months, I can see there are ways. The efficiencies from on the admin side and doing the bookings is also the benefits, as Kelly had said, about the familiarity with the facility.
Right.
So it's less likely for things to get damaged if you guys know how to work things and to shut it down afterwards and things. And where I think we're all interested in seeing a package where it could benefit the residents and provide a partnership, and we'll see if we can't include it as a discussion topic at next month's meeting. And I appreciate you guys taking the time to come out here.
Can I ask a quick question?
Of course.
What did you think of the acoustics in the building itself?
I was there at the meeting this morning. They did say it was loud. The acoustics are very good, for lack of a better way to put it. They are very good. I can see where people, if you turn the music up too much, but that's easily controlled. That's easily managed. But yes, the acoustics are very good. One of my small banquet rooms is the same way. You cannot turn things up too loud, because if you do, it reverberates a lot. And I know you guys have put in some sound barriers to try and assist with that.
Right.
But you've got ceramic floors, and you've got hardwood ceilings, and you've got glass windows. And so it's all reverberating around, and the sound moves around in there. It's controllable. It really is. And again, I think it's actually advantageous, because as I said, I was an instructor. When I address crowds, I like to walk around and just stand still, kind of because of my nerves. But people can have business meetings there and can conduct meetings without the use of audio or additional amplification. So it works there. I did hear the complaint this morning that it gets very loud in there and you can't hear. But that the same people that said that also said that the last time they were in there, it wasn't as loud, and they had a live band. So the band turned it down a little bit, so it's definitely something that's manageable. So the same people that complained about it being too loud also said, well, now that I think about the last time I was in there, it wasn't really as loud as it was the first time I was in there.
I have a question, if I may, Mayor.
Yes, ma'am.
I take exception with the fact that someone was told that nobody answers back when it comes to calls for the Voight Center. Have two dedicated people that avail themselves just for the Voight Center. We keep a call of all logs, and everybody is answered back daily. So I don't know who was called that didn't get a call back, but I'd like to know who that person was. Secondly, I do have a question, though. I think this would be a really interesting idea, but we do have a homeowners association that books, and we have ladies that use it for, bridge and so forth and bunco. Would they get precedence like they still do now?
Yes, they would. And to answer the comment about the calls, I'm in business 20. That's my job. I still get those complaints. It's just human nature. It happens if we don't respond fast enough. And that was why I began this conversation with, this is the instant gratification generation.
Yeah. It would definitely be a relief for us, but I just like to know who called it and get a call back. Yeah.
I've heard that complaint, and I have 3 sales managers, 2 office managers, and so I have 5 people answering the phone all day long, and I still get that complaint.
I'd like to know.
And Janice, just to add a few comments to what you're saying there. How long have you been with the city?
17 years.
And you've had lots and lots of responsibilities over their 17 years, and then they've added more stuff onto your plate. So I can see where things could fall through the cracks when this is a new process that, in years past.
Oh, listen, I'm not saying we don't make mistakes. We aren't perfect in admin, but one thing we pride ourselves on is answering everybody back within 24 hours. Sometimes it even takes me 48, but we call everybody back.
I've actually addressed that matter within my companies where I have interns now every semester whose whole job is just to return phone calls, because we did get that complaint. I mean, people want to be called back right away. And I work Mondays, and most of the sales team doesn't, because they work Saturdays. And I get calls every Monday. Well, I sent them an email on Saturday at 6 o'clock at night. Why haven't they called me back, or why haven't they returned my email? I'm like, well, they were doing another wedding at that same time that you were
No, it
calling
would
them.
definitely be a relief off of our desk. But
Oh, yeah, definitely.
I've got a question.
Yes, Oscar.
How would you be implementing that as far as with the city? What kind of partnership? Do you take complete control? In other
I would
words,
not
somebody
take-
calls in and says, hey, look, I want to rent the Voight Center. Are they talking to Janice? Or are they talking to you?
I would rather them call us.
Okay.
We're 5 minutes away. It took us 5 minutes to get here from our office.
So in
I'd
other
rather
words, they're
them
gonna
call
be-
us, and then we coordinate with Kelly, I'm sorry. We coordinate with Kelly, on the setups. But we field the calls, we handle the meetings, we deal with the logistics as far as doing the diagrams, and then we can either figure out, and again, this would be a fluid situation.
Yeah.
So we can figure out if it's best that Kelly handles the setups or we handle the setups.
Well, actually, I'm talking about the contract part of it because Janice put a lot of time in the city into putting that contract together.
We can use that same contract.
Okay.
We can actually work with your same contract. There may be some tweaks that will be needed to made to it.
Understandable.
But yes, I would definitely. I'm all about making it better and not reinventing the wheel. Just
And
trying.
then you've got the financial end of it, the deposits.
Okay, so
See, right now, all that's going through the city. Janice takes care of all that through the city.
right, and so what we're talking about is we can do it one of two ways. One, you can continue doing that and pay us what we get, or we can handle the financial. And every time I get a contract, I write the city a check. That takes it out of their hands, their administration. I'm sure they've got plenty to deal with. We would deal with that on our end. We would take the deposits. We would take the payments. If you want, as soon as we book a venue, you want your $900 or whatever the amount is right up front, we can do that. That can all be planned. But again, we can negotiate that. And we've been in business 27 years, so we'll be here tomorrow.
And we get information for every event that was there.
You would
Number of
absolutely.
people, what time it was, any
There,
issues.
we would set up a line of communication with whomever you choose for us or whoever Janice chooses for us to deal with. But we would have to maintain an online calendar that we can all manage and look at so that we're not double booking. That would be a very bad situation for both of us. And the last thing I want and the last thing you want is for us to double book and embarrass either one of us.
So let me ask you on as far as the bookings, would all bookings go through you?
There would have to be one central booking, whether it's through us or through you, yes.
The reason I
because-
ask is if you have a resident that wants to book something and they don't want to use your catering thing, how does that affect it?
We can negotiate. We can discuss that scenario. And for example, today's event, they were talking about using Bill Miller. If they want to do that, then they have the flat fee that you have already arranged with your residents, and that can go straight to you. And I don't have to deal with that. But we have to be made aware of the booking so that we don't rebook that same date and same time.
Because that would have to be definitely worked out. Because I can
Yes,
see that
sir.
creating an issue with the residents if they're having to go directly through you.
The one thing we don't want to do is ruffle the feather with the residents.
Right.
Because the residents are who built that.
That's who it's built for.
Right.
Right.
And so we want to respect that. And we're just looking at ways to expand it and
Right.
expand your income. And my solution would be they're only dealing with one person or one entity to book that. If they don't want to use our catering, they have that luxury. They are a resident.
Right.
Now, outside the residency, then that's a different situation. But we don't want to come and mess with what you've got with your residents.
Right.
Because that, again, that's
That's something that could be listed on the calendar, resident booking.
Right.
They provide their own food.
yeah. I mean,
Maybe see the same calendar and it's marked what caterer.
and there are online calendars that we can set up that we can both have access to.
Okay.
So my question is, if it's a non-resident and they want to use one of our restaurants that we have here locally to cater, they would not be able to do so.
That would be up. We would prefer no.
Okay.
That would be our preference.
Okay.
But that again can be up for negotiation.
Which I was going to
Yeah,
ask,
it's-
when it comes to other meetings that you have a banquet facility and meeting space, truly, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
But is there any particular instance where people come have a meeting there and it's just like, beverages, coffee, and that's
Yes.
it? Okay. So you're pretty much charging for the room and so much for the coffee.
In that scenario, we are.
Because I still think that for the non-residents, we are way low when it comes to a meeting space, all right? When it comes to non-residents.
What do you think as far as, you've seen different venues, is our pricing low, or is it in order, or what do you think?
I think initially it's low. Initial appearance, I think it's low. I think the price should be closer to $1,500 per event, evening event, and they get the venue for the whole day for setup. No.
Meeting
Just
space.
venue alone. Venue alone is $1,500. I mean, that's my opinion.
I was impressed with the variety of the menu prices and the menu options that you guys can provide. And if there's enough benefit for the concept to have merit and it's a win, I think it warrants discussion, and I appreciate you guys coming by and expressing interest.
I appreciate the time.
Y'all bring samples?
We really discussed it, but we did not. We didn't know what we were walking into. But if you invite us back, we will definitely bring samples now that we know we can.
All right. Hey, thank you,
Okay,
guys.
thank you for your time.
Thank you, Holly. Thank you, Ruben. Thank you, Todd. Appreciate it. All right. John was going to go right to the fire department report.
Good evening. For the month of March, the fire department responded to 30 calls for service. We had 16 EMS, 9 fire alarms, 3 motor vehicle collisions, 1 authorized burn, and 1 unauthorized burn. Our response time was 2 minutes and 54 seconds on average. Acadian responded to 16 EMS calls in Hollywood Park, and their average response time was 6 minutes and 46 seconds.
You got the first one you called on there. Medical assistance EMS crew provide life support. Just curiosity, I've really never seen one go over 9 minutes. Response time, yeah.
So that one was probably time of day. I'm seeing on that it was just after midnight. So normally if it's when the guys are asleep, it'll take a little longer to wake up and get out of the station. I can go back and look. Also on dispatch, sometimes you'll catch right at the end of a minute and then right at the beginning of a minute when you get on scene, which adds a couple of minutes that really aren't there. So, but if you'd like, I can go back and look at that. And
No, I just thought you might have an idea. No issue. Thank you.
Chris, the way I understand it, when I can ask other questions, or no?
If it's in the presentation segment of the meeting, yes. They're here so we can exchange information.
Okay, Johnny, it's your turn. I've picked on the police chief, and Kelly, now it's your turn. The Enclave picnic, there was no firemen there. Did you invite them?
I did. I put a note on the board, and I guess I know we had 2 calls that afternoon.
Okay.
So
And that might have been it. It's just, I know everybody would have enjoyed seeing them. And then one of the other questions I wanted to ask you is, on the fire trucks, what kind of condition are the trucks in? Are they needing any kind of repair?
yes, I have a list of repairs that need to be made to the trucks. I did pass that along to Mayor Murphy. He's had that list for a couple months now, but I just recently, last week, gave him an updated list with estimated costs of repair. I thought that was going to be on the agenda tonight. Apparently, it didn't make it. But yes, and I am over budget on vehicle repair, so I'm really unable to do anything without approval from either council or mayor.
Well, I'm hoping on your list that you've got the relief valve on there.
Yes, ma'am.
Is that on the list? And how about the ladder mount and the pike hole?
Yes.
Okay, because those seem pretty important. The way I understand, there was a situation where Kelly had to open everything up. They could not get that open because things had slid forward and they could not get the lid open. I didn't hear this from Kelly.
No, it was when they came to do our ladder testing. Yeah, they opened up that compartment and the ladder wouldn't pull out. So we ended up dropping the pike pole holder runs front to back in that
Yes.
compartment, and it's about as long as the folding ladder. Well, the rear of it fell. It came off, and when we pulled on the ladder, the rung hit it. So we ended up taking it apart from the front and just pulling it out of the compartment so we can get the ladder out and it can be tested. So right now it is laying on the floor in our bay, and it's not in the compartment. So our pike poles are laying on top of the ladder right now and not actually in a holder, which is just several tubes that they slide into. And they range in size anywhere from 6 to 14 feet long.
Okay, but those two items were on the list?
Yes, ma'am, they were, amongst
Okay.
other things.
And then, how many firemen do you have that can do the business inspections?
There are 3 of us on staff that can do business inspections.
Okay, now when the other firemen do the inspections, are they paid more
Yes.
per
there's-
inspection or something like this?
I actually have one lieutenant who goes out and does the inspections, and yes, he does get incentive pay for that.
Now, is that Tim?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so now if you did the inspections, would you get more money?
If the city chose to give me that incentive to do that, then yes.
I mean, right now, is it set up where you get the incentive pay?
No, I do inspections. When Tim's not here, I'll do inspections just based on my salary.
So then if we get you to do the inspections, then it saves the city some money.
That's correct.
Okay, and then, let me see. Okay, when a fireman takes off during the day to go to the doctor's office, and he's just going to be gone a few hours or whatever, do you bring in a part-timer?
No, in fact, that just happened today. I had an individual that took sick leave from 7 to 4, and I didn't bring anybody in because I was here to cover that.
Okay, good, because we had talked before, and you said you'd be the fourth guy, so but you would bring them in after 5, because then you're gone,
Yes.
and they would be here to.
Yeah, if someone took a whole shift off or they were going to be gone past 5 o'clock, I would bring someone in because then I wouldn't not be here. We'd be down to 3 people.
Yeah, good. Okay. And then, okay, we had talked before about you using part-time firemen. Have you looked into that anymore?
I do have part-time firemen, and I do use them.
I mean, where they would just come in like at night, where they would more or less work from the 5 o'clock in the evening till the 7 o'clock in the morning, but they'd just be spending the night here?
No, I haven't done that. If someone's taking a whole shift off, I just cover the whole shift.
Oh, so you spend the night here then?
No. When I say I cover it, I send out a coverage alert and schedule somebody to work that entire shift if someone takes off.
So then they would work from the morning till the next morning?
Correct, the full 24-hour shift.
Would the city save money if we just brought in the part-time where they're just here at night, since you're here during the day?
Well, obviously they would save the money that we're paying them to be here from 7 in the morning until 5 in the evening. However, it's really hard to get people to come in at 5 o'clock at night and work overnight, and basically you're paying someone to sit here and sleep.
Yeah.
You know, but you know, I have expressed my concerns about me being that fourth guy because my job on scene is not fighting fire. My job is incident command, and that's part of the emergency management, which is regulated by FEMA and the state. And the incident commander isn't even supposed to be on the fire ground. You're supposed to be back off the fire ground conducting incident command, speaking with dispatch. There's certain things the incident commander has to do, and if I'm on a nozzle or on a pump, I can't do incident command. I can't monitor the guy's air packs. I don't know, can't do PAR checks, which personal accountability reports for dispatch. There's a lot of things that go on. So when I'm the fourth guy, really you still only have 3 guys on scene because I'm not on a nozzle.
Okay, so if we had a fire on the weekend or when you're on vacation, because I'm guessing someone does not come in when you're on vacation to take your place because you're the chief.
Actually, Tim does cover when I'm not here in case we do have a fire. He will come in so he can investigate the fire and do help and do incident command and things of that nature.
Okay. And let me see if I got anything else. Okay. Have you ever talked with Bear Boverde about their guys being working part-time?
Yeah, Bearable Verde is staffed mostly part-time employees, and I do have a couple of guys that they are part-time with Bearable Verde, and they're part-time with me as well.
Oh, so then you can bring them in if you needed to from the 5 o'clock in the evening, more or less just to spend the night.
Well, yeah, if they're willing to do it, but I'm just saying from past experience, if you try and cover just a few hours, you usually won't get anybody to cover it because they're going to take a 24-hour shift somewhere else. A lot of my part-timers work for other fire departments as well.
Okay. And then, at one time we had talked about, excuse me, about the bandages and stuff, how it runs into a lot of cost for the city, like when y'all have to, if someone's hurt and y'all are there before the ambulance and y'all have the training to do medical care, we had talked about how the bandages and everything cost a lot.
Absolutely, it does cost money.
Well, the way I've understood, unless things have changed, my brother-in-law was a fire chief, and he's retired. He said that, I'm going to say the name wrong, Acadian Ambulance should be supplying y'all with stuff.
They do supply us with certain things. Your normal stuff, like Band-Aids and boxes of gloves, they won't supply us with because we use it a lot, and we would use it whether they made the call or not. But if we do use a O2 mask or a C-collar, or anything, they will supply us with that. So it depending on what the truck is, some of the guys will give us a box of gloves here and there. So, but we do have an agreement with them. They do provide us with some of the medical equipment that we use.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you very much. I know you feel like I picked on you, but trust me, Chief Pritchard and Kelly's gone through the same thing with me.
That's fine.
Thank you.
I'm glad I can answer your questions.
Thank you, John.
Absolutely.
Chief Pritchard, you have the floor.
So I just want to point out I was at the luncheon for the Enclave before I get grilled on that. Just kidding.
No
All right, good afternoon, everybody. So I've got a few slides here. It's very good to see everybody, by the way. Thanks for being here. So we had 219 calls for police department. Our citations, if you've noticed, they jumped up significantly, and part of that's because we've got two of our officers. One of them was off maternity leave, and she's just got back, and she's a day shift officer and highly productive. And then my other officer, who is also a military reservist, he just got back. So those numbers are indicative of them getting back on the street. So it's nice to have them back out there and us getting almost to full strength. I will say that we do have part-timers in the police department as well. I have 3. I think the difference for us, rather, is I will not carry anybody part-time that doesn't put in time. So we have a mandatory requirement. So if you want to work with us part-time, we do have a mandatory requirement that you will put in a certain amount of hours, or we're not gonna carry you.
Like
And
20 hours or something like
Right, that's exactly what it is. So it's 20 hours a month, and I know it doesn't seem like a lot, but when you do work full-time somewhere else, it is a commitment. But I will agree with Johnny. It is difficult to get people to come in on a part-time basis. And we don't have a lot of luck finding people to do it, but right now we do have it. And we've got good folks, so we're happy about that. So that's how it works for us. Down here at the bottom, these numbers here, when you see these numbers down here at the bottom, and they're pretty low, you see 1s and 2s, that's a great thing. You want those to be 0, if at all possible. And I'll show you a slide later why that's important and how it's contributed to our safety rating. But those numbers need to be very low. We want to see them low. Next slide, please, Jeff. Okay, so nothing phenomenal here, although we're starting to see, summer's coming up, so our golf cart inspections are starting to increase. We had 5 this past month. So I think last count we had something like 100 golf cart permits out there, so quite a bit. Next slide, Jeff. So today we took pizza down to the dispatchers at Bexar County. It's National Dispatcher Appreciation Week. We do this every year. It's kind of our little tradition. We buy them lunch for the day on behalf of Hollywood Park. I know they have a tough job, so it's just our little way of showing appreciation to them. So we provided lunch to them today. Next slide.
Did you have to advertise it was free pizza though?
Yeah, I did. Now, here's this past month, very proud of this. So I went to Austin and testified in front of the Jurisprudence Committee on behalf of House Bill 37, which makes mail thefts a state crime. Currently, it is only a federal offense to steal mail. And oftentimes what happens is we're catching these folks with mail, bags full of mail in their cars, and we simply turn them over with no hopes of prosecution. So what this bill will do is when we catch them, then we can file local charges for stealing your mail. So here's what happens, and you guys all have seen this or know somebody that's going through this. They steal your mail looking for credit cards and identifying information so that they can get credit and/or checks and open bank accounts and steal your identity. So that crime in itself leads to so many things that you have to clean up as an individual, and it's very difficult. Once that happens to you, it's difficult to get through that, and it's difficult for us to investigate it because the amount of paperwork and subpoenas we have to go through with financial institutions is unbelievable to put somebody in jail for 30 days, right? So this bill is tough. In fact, it's the minimum is a state jail felony if you get caught with 3 or more pieces of mail that don't belong to you. So it's hung up a little bit right now because of that punishment. We may have to negotiate a little bit on the punishment, but I'm okay with that as long as we can get this on the book. So be on the lookout for this. I really hope it passes. Put a lot of work into this. So if it does, then Hollywood Park, we've done one for the state of Texas. Next slide. Okay, so we were talking about stats. I don't know if y'all have seen this. This is something I kind of keep up with. We've been number 1 on this list, but we normally fall between 1 and 5 each year, so I'm real happy about that. So this past year, we are the 4th safest city in Bexar County. There are something like 43, 44 cities in this area that they recognize on this list. So I think being in the top 10 is a pretty good accomplishment, and being number 4 is something we're proud of. We got a little work to go, but that's a really great accomplishment, and it's just a testament really to the quality of people here in Hollywood Park. It really is. So we really appreciate your support. Next slide. All right, so we had to do it. This is that new challenge going around, the blue bonnets, back to blue and blue bonnets, and these 2 officers, they're always up to these kinds of things. So they got out here in the blue bonnets and took some pictures. So I thought I'd share that with you. All right, so pending your questions, that's all I have.
Are residents cited for mowing down their blue bonnets while they're still in full bloom?
They are not, but they are certainly given the stink eye.
Okay, thank you.
Got a question, Chief. 227. That's way up. It's a good thing, though, right? On the citations.
So if you go down that column, Councilman, it's actually 394.
Right.
Right. So it is way up, but that's 2. Now we have 9 patrolmen. So when you're missing 2, that's a significant loss to your patrol. So when you add those 2 back on your day shift, and they take my place when I have to be out there, they're doing a really good job for you.
And that represents the increase in the STEP program.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You bet.
All right, Kelly, Public Works.
All right, for Public Works this month, guys are super busy. The grass is growing, trees are blooming, pollen's falling, leaves are everywhere. So my guys have just really been out there trying to keep things cleaned up. Started on creek beds, Danella Parks. They cut Danella Park yesterday because we had some mosquito problems out there. Something we finally did, I think this was the first time in a long time, we've actually managed to fertilize all of our parks. So hopefully that'll make the grass grow a little bit better, so I won't get the complaints about the weeds.
Nice.
Let's see, our Voight Center rentals for the month of March. We had 6 community events, 5 residential events, and 3 non-residential events. February and March are usually our slowest months, seems to be. May is starting to get real busy, and June is, I'm not looking forward to. I've got weekends where we've got 5 events in 3 days. So, and our monthly code log. Let's see, this month we did 38. It's kind of dropped a little bit. Gavin had some bigger cases that he had to really focus on and work with our prosecutor on getting the paperwork in the proper order to push forward on a couple of cases there. So the last couple of days, I know he's really been out pushing on the landscaping code issues, trying to recover from the bulky item pickup and that kind of stuff. Pool season's fixing to start. Pool opens May 4th for weekend swims, and then I believe June 2nd or 3rd, something like that, for the summer events. So we're all set up for that. Schedule's ready. Lifeguards are ready. We're moving forward on that. Started putting in the new cameras down at the park. We have added 5 additional cameras, thanks to EDC for that.
Yeah.
Their cameras are installed. They're having some issues getting some communication, some Wi-Fi communication between 2 cameras, so they're supposed to be back out next week and hopefully get everything all up and running. When that happens, then Chief and his officers will actually have immediate remote access anytime they want to be able to see what's going on in the park. And the entire park will be covered at that time. That's pretty much all I got. If y'all have any questions.
No, I think I appreciate you sharing the good news about the cameras and the progress and the help from EDC on the things at Voight Center. Sorry to hear about the clutch on the Kubota going out, our tractor. And appreciate all that you do.
You know, it's a piece of equipment, and unfortunately,
They break.
equipment breaks, and it has to be maintained. And this is one piece of equipment that I don't have the shop space or tools to be able to repair, so I'm going to have to take it someplace else and have them do it.
Well, Johnny, we'll make sure that we've got provisions in the agenda and we can work out making sure we can get the fire truck repairs done and the clutch on that, because we really can't wait till the budget workshop times. These got to be done sooner, and we can get that done right away. Well, thank you very much.
Thanks, Kelly.
Jeff Henson with our financial report.
Evening, Mayor and Council. I just want to point out some highlights tonight. On the first page, which is the summary reports, page 18 in your agenda, your revenue is 82%. We're only 50% of the budget into the year. That's because of the property tax coming in. But I'll deal with some of these revenue items on the next page. I wanted to point out that with 50% of the budget, there are 2 departments right now that are above that. I was going to give you the reasons. The first one is municipal court. And that's because if you look up at administration, it's only at 43% of the budget. The employees over there are cross-trained, and administration has had 2 employees out on medical, so the employees from the municipal court picked it up, and they're still charged to municipal court. So when you look at these 2 departments, you need to look at them, together because they're cross-trained employees. The other one is the fire department, which is at 53%, and the reason for that is when the life packs were damaged, we got an insurance payment from them, but that goes under revenues, and the expense part, which was paid out, even though it's not budgeted or anything, it went under expenditures, under capital items, okay? So in reality, it's only a $7,000 difference, but that's how it works out there. When you're talking about a budget this big, that $25,000, by the end of the year will be a lot smaller in relation to it. The next thing I wanted you to look at is page 19 on revenues. If you look at sales tax, last month our sales tax was $6 less than this, and that was February sales tax, which is December sales, okay, Christmas. This month, which is January sales, we're $6 more at $71,441. It looks like it's more, but what it consists of, I look at this when it comes in, they had audit collections. $13,000 of audit collections. That's where they go out and audit businesses. So if you really took the $6,500 that's attributable to general fund, it'd be still really good. It'd be about $65,000, not $71,000. But you do get the money coming in, and it's in the actual payments. And I compared this to last year, and I think we're going to be, the budget is going to be way over. We're going to be 25 to 30% sales tax increase this year over last year. And that's tremendous. I looked at it, I had to check it twice because that's a lot to be over. But some businesses evidently moved in. I asked questions about that, and some businesses moved in after March. And so it may slow down some, but those businesses are creating that big increase in sales tax. The next item if you go down, you'll see that Voight's building, since we're talking about it, Voight Center was only budgeted $30,000. We are 50% of the year. They're at $22,810, so they're 76% of budget already.
Is that booked business or in the future, or just that's taken place?
It's just taking place.
Okay.
This is 6 months. So if you doubled that, it'd be like $44,000 compared to the 30. Too bad there's not more Saturdays and Sundays during the week. So nobody wants it. The last thing I want you to look at is on page 20, which is under miscellaneous revenue, the first item is interest. Only $7,000 was budgeted, but we're at $38,000 interest halfway through the year. So interest will probably go nowhere but up because I think interest rates are going to go up. And we're on a in pools, and those pools are on 60-day on 60-day maturity. So as soon as those interest rates go up in 60 days, they go up also. Works the same way down, but doesn't look like they're going to go down. So we ought to have maybe close to 10 times the amount of interest in the revenue than what's in the budget too. Okay. If there's any questions or anything else, I'll answer them if I can. If not, I will investigate them and actually find out.
All right. Thank you, Jeff. Janice, would you like anything to share?
Business of the month for April is Back to Life Chiropractic. They're on Pantheon Way, Suite 160. And so they are our business of the month this month. And if anybody has any businesses that they patronize here in Hollywood Park that would like to become business of the month, please tell them to contact us. When we contact people and say, we'd like for you to be our business of the month, they automatically think we charge them something. But we don't. It's free marquee space. We put it on our Facebook page. We put it on our YouTube. We Instagram it. You name it, we do it so that way you all as residents can be aware of the businesses that are here in Hollywood Park. So if you know of someone, please don't hesitate to contact us. Also, I wanted to let everyone know that for court for this past month, for April, we had 309 new violations. 279 people or 279 violations were on the docket. We had a revenue of $29,660. Our court was quite busy, but I'm proud to say that with 2 windows open, we didn't have more than 7 people waiting in the lobby at one time. So I thought that was fantastic. Also for the month of March, under building permits, we had 50 new permits and brought in $7,180 worth of revenue. I also wanted to mention the chief and I and Jeff were talking today, and we'll be putting this out on Facebook and so forth and so on. We're going to be having a silent auction here at City Hall on May 17th for equipment. Correct, Chief?
Just like surplus and seized property.
And we'll be putting all that information out so that way those of you who would like to come and perhaps bid on tools or what we have here, you'll be able to do so. We'll be having it out here in the parking lot at City Hall, and we'll be sending more information to you about that auction. And now, the very exciting part of today's, not that it isn't all exciting on the agenda, but the exciting part for me for today is thank you so much to everyone who contributed their drawings and their artwork for the Hollywood Park Fiesta Medal Contest. The medals usually go very quickly, so do the posters, and so we really appreciate everyone who contributed and put forth their best effort. So, Mayor, if you'll step down and we can announce the winner, who I hope is here, by the way. So, I wish we had a drum roll. Is Katie Castleberry in the house? Miss Katie, congratulations. Congratulations. Now, we're in the process of post-matting your frame and so forth, and I'm sorry, council members, so you can see what it looks like. We'll be getting that to you as soon as it's finished being framed. And here are your Fiesta medals for you. And I'd like to get a picture of you and the mayor together to put on our Facebook page.
I'd like to stress that we're only recycling, so we have it on the other side of the open.
Okay, 3. 1, 2, 3. Perfect. And we have Fiesta posters and medals on sale in the lobby for those of you who like them. So thank you so much. Thank you. Yeah, I'll get that out of the way for them. There you go, sir. There you go, sir. If you'd like to pass one down to each. Those are for you all.
Very nice. Thank you.
There you go.
All right. Mr. Brennan, the floor is yours.
I love these pins with that deer head on it, or the medals.
Aren't they beautiful?
Great. Subtle, clever.
Yes.
I don't have anything else right now, Mayor.
Okay.
I'll save it.
All right. Thank you.
I wish.
Sir, I have some questions for you.
Okay.
You're next. The ordinances, they need help. They need some kind of teeth in them. Kelly's working himself to death trying to get a lot of things cleaned up and everything, and there's just so many loopholes in them. What can we do?
Normally what would happen is if we have discovered loopholes in a particular ordinance, that information, is discussed and we address it by coming up with trying to tighten. I remember a lawyer when I was young that was known as the loophole lawyer. Our intent is to combat the loophole lawyer so that there isn't a loophole. And as far as I know, I have not received any requests for ordinances that are leaky ordinances.
So is that something that Kelly needs to sit down with you or just send you an email?
Normally that's what we would work through, visit, either phone, email, or whatever. Yeah, if he's identified a weakness in an ordinance, we can certainly address that.
Okay, because, every time I'll say, well, what about this, what about that? And he'll say, it's just the ordinance, the way it's written, there's not a lot that he can do with stuff.
Okay. No, I'm happy to work on that.
Okay, thank you.
That's part of the job. Make sure we don't have leaky ordinances.
I will say that Attorney Henry we've been working on that for a while. They have had changed quite a few ordinances over the last couple of years. Am I correct in saying that?
Yes, those are mainly, I think, building code or building violation type ordinances that they've addressed through the municipal court or, worked through a process of tightening down municipal court enforcement. Historically or traditionally, criminal ordinances, which is sort of what normal ordinances are, have to be enforced criminally. Sometimes are difficult, and they've been shifting to a more administrative type process where the judge has administrative powers to make people do stuff other than just issue a fine.
Right.
And there has been movement, good movement toward that.
Yep.
Because I know Kelly's working on a lot of stuff, and it might be stuff he can't talk about right now, so I'm not going to ask him to talk about it. But,
Okay. No, I'll get with Kelly and see.
he's been working hard on it.
Great.
Thank you. I know I'd like to give a big shout out to Tiger Sanitation for doing an outstanding job in the pouring rain, picking up all the bulky trash in front of people's homes. There were a lot of mattresses out there, and I'll bet that was a little more difficult after a heavy rain. And I also want to encourage everyone to encourage their friends and neighbors to get out and vote for the upcoming election. We have one council position up for election, and we have both Councilman Bailey and Councilman Howe returning. And I had written a short article for the Sparks wanting to urge people to come out and vote, that it's important we have a good representation of all the residents to share their opinions. And I wanted to express my thanks to Oscar for his help with me on the street project over the last couple years, and I've appreciated that. But my focus was on just encouraging people to vote. Now, they turned down my request for that letter because they said it was political in nature, and that wasn't the intention. But I think it's important that we work with the facts, and we have a lot of good things going on here. And if you can be sure to go out and vote, that would be really appreciated. And I also wanted to say that, partially in response to your comment, I've gotten some emails from residents about the garage sale weekend and about the permitting question and also about political signs. And that's the reason they're on the agenda, because we try to reflect the views of the residents. And we thought, all right, it's a good idea. So that's one way things can be played out and discussed, to try to seek if there's a solution in order or necessary. So they're on the agenda for tonight, and we're going to discuss them. And that's how we do it. So that's all I have to say. Thank you all again, and we'll go to the consent agenda portion of our meeting. like to approve the minutes and the financial statements for the month of March.
I move that we approve the minutes of the regular council meeting on 3/19/2019 and accept the financial statements as of 3/31/2019.
All right. Do I have a second?
A second.
All right. All those in favor?
Aye.
All right. Motion carries. Thank you. Citizen participation. We didn't have any residents sign up to speak, but I'd like to extend the invitation. Yes, Mr. Phillips. Please, your name and address, please, sir. Yes.
Steve Phillips, Ashford Glen. I think it's a fantastic idea that we have someone in here to professionally manage and market the Voight Center. Janice can't do that. She has her hands full every minute that she's here, and she's here many more minutes that she shouldn't be. But to have somebody market it who already has a list of people that he knows he can call. And I think that's a fantastic idea, and I bet you that we could increase our revenues by 50% if we had it professionally managed. Okay? Thank you, guys.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Phillips. All right. Anyone else? Yes, please.
I haven't been to a meeting in a while, so I didn't sign up.
Would you please?
Okay.
Sure. Please come up and state your name and your address. And
Yes, I'm Tina King. I'm at 209 Vista Robles. And first, I'd like to invite our residents. I signed up to be the host for the Meet the Candidates on April 28th here at City Hall at 2 o'clock. So I'd like to invite all those who would like to be in attendance. And I've been in contact with City Council who will be here to attend that. Just in the one item that was brought up about having someone manage the Voight Center, I guess me, as I've been here 6.5 years, and how old is the Voight Center? 2 years. And so it sounded like from Jeff Henson, our city treasurer, that we're doing pretty good as far as revenue. Of course, would we like to make more? Yes. So I would just like City Council to also take into consideration who it was built for. It's a beautiful place. It was built for our residents. And so, and some things that Scott Bailey said to the catering, as a resident and having had one daughter, thank goodness, having had to go through one wedding, yes, Anne Marie's is great, but I'd like, as a resident, to be able to choose my own caterer. And I'm looking to book, I've talked with Janice already, but the calendar wasn't available for January of 2020 yet. So I just would like the residents to have precedence now it is? Okay. To have precedence in, having first dibs. And also I'm on the Hollywood Park Community Association Board and the Welcoming Committee. And I just like, all of those to be taken into consideration first. And I don't know what type of clientele it would bring in, but that's something also to consider. And just to make a quick comment on what Chief Butrico was saying, and then Councilwoman Delane Hall. First of all, I wouldn't want to save if y'all were coming to rescue me and save on, the gauze or something, just because it's a cost to the community. But anyways, I thank y'all for what y'all do. And anytime I hear the word save for our first responders and what they do, it kind of rustles my feathers, because my dad was a San Antonio Police Department detective. So thank y'all for what you do.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Appreciate that. All right. Going into old business, we have none. So we're going to go into new business. And, I'm sorry, please.
This is my first city council meeting to attend.
Thank you.
My name is Anita Hines. My name is Anita Hines. I live at 142 Canyon Creek. I just had a quick question as to why the
I'm so nervous. The issues with the fire truck were not on the agenda, because you said you submitted your costs and the equipment, the list of equipment that you needed 2 months ago. Why wasn't that already on the agenda?
Okay.
Sorry.
It's a one-way flow of information, but for citizen input, you have 2 minutes to share your thoughts and opinions. We're not allowed to question
like I said,
you
this was
or-
my first meeting.
No, it's understandable.
Okay, now I'm understanding
It's
the process.
frustrating on our side, but yeah.
Okay.
But I appreciate you bringing that up.
Okay, all right.
Thank you. All right. Would anyone else like to speak? Okay. Where's my agenda? New business. The first item of business was responding to an email from a resident who had a concern about the garage sale weekend and the permit issue. And I think over the years, because of the number of residents that participate in garage sale weekend, it's on one hand, it's a great recruiting tool for the HPCA, which I think is one of the best values out there for the $25 a year. And you're given the option of participating. What really is helpful is the fact that they produce hundreds of maps and they provide them, and you can list things that you're selling. And if you're a member of the association, it's $5 to participate and be on the map. It's $10 if you're a resident that would like to participate in the garage sale. We don't get into an enforcement issue because of the number of residents that just drag a few things out from their garage and put them in front of their home for sale, because they all know in 10 days they'll be out in front of their home again for bulky trash pickup if it didn't sell. I see a lot of exercise equipment in this category in particular. But we've tried to make it a resident-friendly situation and opportunity, and not one of fear of police action or things. And I would like it to continue to be a recruiting tool for the HPCA for the work that they put into the maps and lists and doing that. And I wasn't as sure that there was an issue with our existing permit structure. It seemed like a simple solution might be, if you're not willing to either buy your garage sale permit through the city and host it on a different weekend, pay the $10 garage sale permit fee, and we'll give that money to the HPCA to go towards their efforts to do the maps and lists and things. But it didn't seem like the type of thing that needed to be made more complicated. But I'm open to council discussion on what your thoughts are.
I think we should leave well enough alone. I think it's been working to this point beautifully.
Mm-hmm. Chief, do you have enforcement or thoughts or issues or?
So I think here's maybe I can simplify it even more. What happens is, by code, everyone that has a garage sale has to have a permit, regardless if it's part of the association or just as an individual. It does not matter. You've got to have a permit to have a garage sale. And you're limited by code of how many you can have per year. So you're almost penalized for having it with the association. Now you're limited on what you can do personally. So from the PD's point of view, we were doing the permits at that time until just recently, and we would give out 50, 60 permits. And it's just, from an administrative point, it's difficult. So in practice, what we're doing, if you were part of the association garage sale, we put you in that umbrella and assumed you had a permit under the association umbrella, and we just didn't enforce the ordinance for that weekend. That's practice, but in theory and in the law concerned, code concerned, you would need a permit. So I think what this is doing is waiving that fee and waiving the permit, if I'm not mistaken. Is that what we're doing?
Historically, pardon?
I think the permit's free anyway, though, right?
Right,
Yeah.
the permit's free, so we're just waiving the requirement for the permit for the garage sale underneath this time
That's my
period.
understanding. The issue is whether you want to be included on the map or not.
That's the
right?
benefit
I think-
is being
I
on
mean,
the map, you know.
I don't think we need another ordinance for that. I think it's a waste of time. and
It's
energy.
not another ordinance, it's amending the ordinance, saying that you're waiving the permit requirement if you're part of the association garage sale. That's all this is. I think we're complicating it, but it's just saying.
I think this is complicating it.
Right, it's just saying you don't have to come get a permit if you're part of the HPCA garage sale during this period of time. Otherwise, 60 people show up here and want a permit for a garage sale. We're waiving the permit for that. That's what it says here, right?
I didn't get that though this time.
The code ordinance by waiving the garage sale permit requirement for garage sales conducted as part of the annual Hollywood Park Community Association. That is what we're doing.
Maybe I did it wrong, but I didn't get it for this time. I got 3 requests for garage sale permits, and that was all.
Oh, you're just saying you didn't get flooded with a lot of resident requests.
No, I got
But
3.
3. Okay.
However, the reason we're doing this is not my idea, by the way, but I'm interpreting this because we've been dealing with this since I've been chief the last 6 years. Had an officer been on patrol and you were having a community association garage sale and you did not have a permit, you're in violation of the code.
Oh, this is the way I did it, so I don't know if I did it wrong. Holly gave me a list of everybody that was on the HPCA garage sale list, and we did one permit for everybody. And had the police or the code compliance, I don't know who does it now, would have said, who has a permit, I would have just given them that list, so that way they know
And that's
they were
what
covered.
this is giving you the permission to do.
Oh.
Yeah, the way the ordinance has been drafted, the intention was to streamline it, correct?
Right. So they were supposed to have a permit by code. Okay, if you were part of the HB, we didn't worry about it. But legally, you have to have a permit if you're conducting a garage sale. Individually, you have to have a permit. Regardless whether you're at the HPCA or an individual, you have to have a permit. It doesn't matter how it's being conducted, it's if it's being conducted. Does that make sense? So this code says you don't need a permit if you're going through the HPCA during this event. That's all this code does. It puts an exception to the permit requirement. Every other time, you still need a permit throughout the year. So it makes it real simple. If you're part of the HPCA garage sale event, you do not have to pull a permit that weekend. That way, we don't have to go around looking for all these permits. We don't have to issue all these permits. We're making an exception to the rule for this event. That's
so
all.
nobody
That's
gets
all.
a permit.
No, during that period of time,
Nobody.
that weekend, nobody needs a permit for a garage sale. That's all this is.
So if the HPA has this garage sale, can they just collect some sort of a fee
They do.
to do the maps and all
That's
that?
it.
They do.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
Yes.
So just no more permit then.
That's because you were selling your stuff in my driveway because I got the permit. Okay.
By the way,
He got
where's
the
my
money.
half?
Did I make that clear?
You know, the way the ordinance that I'm looking at is confusing to me is that it states, if we were to pass this as it's adopted, in the event a person wishes to conduct a garage sale during the dates of the annual Hollywood Park Community Association garage sale event, but without participating in such event, such person shall obtain a permit as required in 28.4. In the previous sentence is saying we're to waive the garage sale permit requirement for garage sales. But they're saying
You need to remove that second part. For that period of time,
Yeah.
we're waiving the permit requirement for garage sales in the park, regardless whether you're with the HPCA or not.
So-
we need to waive permit for that
we
weekend.
need to amend this the way it's worded, Mr. Brennan. It's in that bottom paragraph. But we have almost a year to go back and forth on this. Yes.
Well, the code is on the books today. Says if you're going to have a garage sale, you got to have a permit. Doesn't matter when it is,
Right.
why it is, you have to have a permit. So the question that was sent to me is, how can we exempt or waive that permitting requirement during the Hollywood Park Community Association garage sale annual event? I said, well, we'll put a statement in the code that says you don't have to have a permit if you're participating in that event. But if somebody said, well, wait a minute, if you have to pay to participate in that event. So if somebody doesn't want to pay, what do? So then I put the second sentence says, if they don't want to participate in that event, which means they don't want to pay the association dues or permit fee, then they can come get a permit just like they always could. And I think they're free, aren't they? Permits are free. So if you don't want to pay $5 to the association, but you still want to have a permit a garage sale that weekend, come up to the city, don't pay anything, you get your permit. So you got a choice. You can do it for free if you do it through the association. You can do it free. Well, I'm sorry, you can pay if you want to do it through the association, and get it on the map and do all those whatever benefits there are. But if you don't want to pay and don't want to get on the map, don't want to do anything, you just want to have a permit to have your own personal garage sale, then come up here and get a permit free. Well, which is the way it's been. But the code right now today says you got to have a permit. Doesn't matter whether it's the association permit event, garage sale event or non-event, you have to have a permit.
See how difficult this is, even for us to have to enforce?
Yeah. Yes.
Microphone, Chris.
Association Committee. Just to clarify what the association, and Holly's not here, so I guess I'll speak on the behalf of the association, community association, is if you have paid your dues, right, which is $25 to join the Hollywood Park Community Association, and you want to participate in the community garage sale and you've paid your $25, then it's $5 to participate in the garage sale. If you have not paid your $25, then it's $10. And so what my understanding from an email and from the meeting that we had as an association is that the city council would like to do away with the $5 and the $10 fee, and then we lose the $500 to $650 that we make for this event to cover, she said, printing the maps, the time it takes to, I don't know, to have it on the advertising in the paper. And so that, speaking on behalf of the community association, those fees go to help with all the numerous events that we put on for the community, is what Holly had explained it and how I understand.
Right.
And so we didn't want to use those fees, not that, and Janice was right, the umbrella of those who paid and participate goes under Hollywood Park permit for the garage sale, right? So
okay.
To be honest with you, I don't think anybody's trying to take any money away from
No,
the HPCA at
in
all.
fact, I think
it's well worth the $5 or $10 to get on that map. I've experienced it firsthand with my smarter than a fourth grade sign I had on Voight. Okay, last year I turned my money in late. Okay, and it was too late, I should say. So we did it on our own, and the foot traffic wasn't there. This year, I made the cutoff. The foot traffic was there.
You know, again, I think it's a great recruiting tool to encourage membership in the HPCA. And so that's what I would like to continue. I'd almost want to make it where if they didn't want to do the $5 or $10 level, they could choose another weekend to do the garage sale without the maps. And, if they didn't want to benefit from all the traffic that the garage sale weekend brings into Hollywood Park, they can do it on their own. And that was my preference. So I think I'm still comfortable with the existing set of rules if we just can be clear or in agreement on them. I'm still puzzled by the language in this, which is requiring permits from everyone, but I'll open this to the council floor for discussion.
Can I ask
say something, Mayor?
I just wanted to ask Mr. Brennan if the way this was written, since I know you authored this and I haven't read it line by line, but so it's my understanding that the association would pull one permit or be exempt from any permitting if the individual is claiming to be a part of the association garage sale. Am I getting that right?
Well, we really didn't say that the community association had to have a permit. It was my understanding they have an annual event that the association sponsors, and as was stated, if you want to participate in that event, you have to be a member and pay $25, and then you have to pay $5 more to be on the map or whatever it is. And it was my understanding that that indirectly forced somebody to pay to have a garage sale as part of the community association. And since the code says if you're going to, and that the association needed to be or wanted to have its participants exempt from fees or from permits. They don't have to do anything except work it through the community association. And then the other question, the second sentence of this thing says, if somebody doesn't want to be a member of the association and doesn't want to pay the $5 fee, they can still have a permit if they want to. They just have to come get their permit. And it's not under the umbrella permit of the association.
So the association is essentially being exempt from the permit.
Exempted from the permit process. Yes,
right.
sir.
And that list that would be generated by Janice and the association would be our go-to list for those that would not need it.
Yes.
And those that we see a garage sale. So I guess here's what I'm trying to figure out, and I'm not going to get hung up on this because we understand this is a administrative issue, and we're not worried about writing tickets for people that don't have a garage sale permit. Okay, but if an officer is doing his due diligence and he's going down the street and he sees a garage sale, how would we know if they should or should not have a permit out there?
Well, I'd say, I mean, it's up to you what is more convenient for you. But because we decided to go ahead and take over that permitting process because, it was a little heavy for Gina, and we understand that. And so what Holly had said they had done in the past is they gave a list to Gina, and everybody on that list, that was one permit. Listen, for clarity for the police department, we don't mind doing an individual permit for each person on the garage sale list. I mean, that's what we're here for, to do the work. So we don't mind doing that either because Holly's usually very good about giving us the list early. Well, we can do an individual permit for everybody that's on the list. We don't mind if that helps the PD. It's fine with us. We can do that.
We'll work through that. Okay. Just want to make sure
Don't
I
mind
understood
it
the legalese of it all.
Yeah, don't mind at all.
No problem.
Maybe we should start doing garage sale weekends once a month. And then,
bulky pickup.
Yeah, and bulky pickup once a month.
Chief, all the permitting and this, that, and the other, how do you even enforce all that?
Well,
is it worth enforcing, honestly?
In the past, it's not a hard one to enforce because it's real simple. When you pull your garage sale permit, it gives you clear instructions. You have to post that permit in a clear and obvious manner so that it can be seen from the road. So when you drive by in a car, you can see it. If you don't see it, the officer can get out and say, hey, have you got a permit? And normally, 99.9% of the time, if they do not, because they didn't know they had to have one, we just send them to City Hall to get one.
So if it falls under the umbrella, are the HPCA going to provide that, or is that something you can do? Yeah, permit for each person that's in there where they can put on their mailbox?
I'm just saying that.
Okay.
Yeah, it just needs to be something so that we know, that, yes,
seems like a
you're
lot
covered.
of work.
It is
It
a lot
is.
of work. It's a lot of work.
It is a lot of work.
Yeah, that's a lot of work.
Welcome to municipal code enforcement.
clarity in this ordinance because at one time we had a person who was having like a garage sale.
Oh, every weekend, yeah.
And they were kind of using their house as a retail spot. So that's why on the garage sales now, it's actually better that it comes to admin. And I mean, you did a great job too, but you have to space out when you can have your garage sale. You can't have 7 garage sales in 1 year.
Are the permits at the rest of the year, are they free or are they?
No, that's why you saw on our report, the permitting process is you have a building permit, you gotta get it, it's not free. You have a review fee and then you have the permit. As some of you know,
The garage sale.
but garage sales are always free. They're always free. The only reason it comes to us is for us to monitor when you have them. And to ensure that you're not having a resale business.
Turn your mics on, guys, when you speak.
And how many?
For all those viewers at home.
Yes, and how many, that's correct.
I still think, I think it's just cumbersome. I don't want to see the HPCA lose a dime. They put in a lot of work and time and effort into this, and whatever it takes to keep that is important.
Truly, what is going to change that?
I think
we're going to go down and make them pay nothing to pick up a permit.
Right.
Right. And
Well, it doesn't help a thing if
Yeah.
Right.
Members are people doing the HPCA garage sale event. The policeman has a list. He drives by there, no problem. He just keeps on driving. If he drives by and there's a guy having a garage sale, then the policeman is going to stop and say, "Where's your permit?" If he doesn't have one.
Tina, what's
Well,
the
let
pro-
me-
I'm sorry.
My thought is, this is an HPCA event. I think for that weekend, since they're the ones that advertise, do the maps, everything, that if you do not want to go under their umbrella, then you do not have a garage sale that week.
Yeah.
And then you
That's
have your-
another alternative, is just prohibit garage sales on that weekend,
It's just
except for
theirs.
HPCA events. We could do that.
And then ask Holly to do some kind of a sign or something that's posted, so when
Yeah.
the policemen drive by, they see they've got a permit. But otherwise, they can have theirs on a different day.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
That's clarity. Just say anybody's going to have a garage sale that weekend, they've got to do it through the HPCA. If they don't do it through them, they don't have a garage sale that
But this has
weekend.
been going on for how many years, and we've never had an issue. I don't understand why
Well,
we're having an issue now.
I can
It was
tell
a-
you, this
a
is
resident
only
brought it up
my
and-
opinion. The email that was sent out was a little stern, and I think there was several complaints.
The city and
maybe just
code
yours.
compliance office will receive a list of all homes participating in the days they will be open. The homeowners is free. Drive down to City Hall, the garage, pick up a permit. You only have 2 per year, and they're going to be checking out all the permits. And I think that scared a lot of people. Okay.
But
No,
a lot of people took it as a threat or a scare tactic that if you don't get a permit through us, Kelly and the group's going to be out there circling the wagons, and that's how it was
Buying
taken
your
by
things.
some.
Hey, that's the beauty of social media.
I know. That's what I saw on Facebook.
Well, I'd like to move that we table this and keep moving ahead. There's a Spurs game going on, folks.
So are we gonna change it to where it's just the HPCA event and nobody else has a garage sale, or what are we doing?
You have to rewrite that.
Well, if y'all decide that's what you want to do, you can instruct me to redraft this an ordinance that says what you just said. And then we adopt it at the next meeting if you want to.
Is that what we want to do?
Would someone like to move to do that, and we can vote on it?
I move to do that.
You have to say.
Please restate it.
Oh.
You don't get off that easy, Delane. No.
Okay, go ahead.
You already shirked your.
You get 12 seconds to
your
restate
prayer
it
duties.
in full.
Well, I think the motion is that the code be amended to where on the weekends that the annual HPCA garage sale event occurs, that there will be no other private garage sale permits issued.
Yes, that's what I said.
Something like that.
I second that.
Well, all those in favor?
Aye.
All right, motion carries. Thank you. Now, the second item we can deal with quite quickly. It was from a resident that was concerned that our current political sign codes were out of date and unconstitutional, and we are working on sign condensing and combining the types of signs we have in our sign ordinance to meet federal statutes and state law. And it was 30 days prior to an election, and it appears it is still 30 days prior and 5 days following an election, and it can't be in the 10-foot right-of-way or the easement in front of your property. So initially, I'm not seeing a reason to discuss a change in that specifically. Kelly is the enforcement arm of this. Do you have anything to add to that?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
You know,
Please do.
We've got a beautiful city. We don't want all our public areas covered up with political signs. Right now, the way the ordinance is, you can put as many signs as you want at Voight Park, or at Pocket Park, or at Memorial Park, or here at City Hall. I think there needs to be a limit of, 1 or 2 signs per each area with a designated location for them to be put. I don't want signs put down in the middle of the park. If you want to put signs at Voight Park, put them in the Miller lot, right there along the street in the very specific areas. Me and Mr. Brennan talked about this and went over this, and when I saw that it was on the agenda, I kind of held back putting anything out because I wanted y'all to rule on it, because y'all are the ones that make the decisions. But that would be my recommendation. Memorial Park, 2 signs per candidate outside the fenced area. Vanilla Park or Pocket Park, 2 signs per candidate. They are not blocking any access to the park. Voigt Park, 2 signs per candidate in the mulched area in front of the Miller lot. Nothing at City Hall. That makes it fair for everybody, but it keeps the city clean and neat without it just looking like a political nightmare. We all drove by these corners where there's 50 signs taped to every telephone pole and every...
In Hollywood Park?
No, but we've all seen it. We don't want that here. That would be my recommendation.
My recommendation is not to have any in the public. I mean, when I ran last year, I didn't realize we could. So.
And I mean, that's y'all's, I mean, for me, it's easier. No signs, I don't have to worry about them. So.
Yeah, I mean, people have the right to put it in their yard, but I don't see where it should be in the city property, except for on election day, then they have them here at.
So are you picking up these signs, or is that
As of right now, no, because the ordinance.
No, I'm saying like when it's.
If someone puts
what's your complaint about the sign, other than the aesthetics of it?
If someone puts a sign in the right of way, then I move it out of the right of way. So let's say there's a sign in front of your house, and you put it right on the curb. That's in the easement, so I move it back out of the easement. The second, if it's moved back, the second time I'm gonna pull it out, I'm gonna put it on your front porch with a notice saying you can't do that. Comes out the third time, I'm gonna bring it to the office and call whoever's name's on the sign and tell them they have to come pick up their sign.
Shouldn't you be just calling them anyway and instructing? I mean, I don't know why you're moving it if it's not.
Trying to be considerate.
Right.
It's not that big of a difference to be able to pick it up and move it 3 feet or pick it up and put it in my truck. Nobody's, I think in the 2 years I've been here, I've had signs moved back out twice.
Okay.
Once they're moved, people are like, oh, okay, I'll just leave it here.
And what about when the election or whatever is going on is over? What happens then? Does the candidate or whoever, are they required to come pick them up?
They're supposed to, but they don't. I
Okay.
usually wind
5
up with a
days.
whole stack over here at City Hall.
They have
And
to-
the winners will come get them and the losers will leave them there.
Okay.
Kelly, my guess is you're having to move these signs every time you mow on the public area.
We don't have any in the public area right now.
Well, I mean, if they
would
when
be there,
start.
yeah, I would have to, definitely.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, again, that's being worked on right now with the help of Ryan Henry, and we'll have that as a discussion topic soon, and we'll meet and share thoughts on that. But the number of days is still 30, and the 5 days following the election.
I think, Kelly, I mean, I don't know if this is even legal, but if they impede your work, I mean, if these signs are impeding your work and you have to
Then
take
I
them
can
down,
then I
I
can
take them
remove
down
them.
and leave them down.
Yeah, I
would
can
not
remove
put them
them at
back
that
up.
time.
I wouldn't put them back up.
Put them in the shred.
But right now, I don't have any
Okay.
on any of our city property.
Okay, good.
The candidates have been really, really considerate about just keeping them in the residential areas. I don't have any on city property. You know, I'd like to keep it that way. That would be the best. I'm trying to come up with a solution that's agreeable to everybody. I don't want any. Someone might want 50. Okay, well, let's go with a couple.
What about, not to drag this on, but what about the other signs in the community, like the Deer Committee and all these other signs that we see throughout the year? Do these create a problem for you?
No, they really don't create a problem for me. Holly's real good about getting her signs picked up. The Deer Committee, I work with the Deer Committee to put the signs out for when the bucks are in rut and then when the fawns are. So I work to get those out, and then my guys pick them back up. It's a little extra work, but it's a whole lot more work to pick up dead deer than it is to pick up a sign.
It's how the deer find out it's that time of year.
Yeah,
too.
yeah.
Okay, thanks.
Yes, sir.
Educational effort. All right. Well, moving on to number 3. This is discussing an ordinance. It's trying to make it better and safer and improve our ability to encourage residents to register their pets with the town. So when they get loose, it's easier to find their owners, and it's make sure that we have vaccinated, licensed, tagged animals. So there's a safety and a health issue there as well. So we were talking about repealing the fee structure. Is that correct?
Yes, Mayor, because twice a
On the
year now,
licenses.
the the Hollywood Park Animal Association, I'm sorry, Humane Society, thank you, I can't think, have their pet clinic twice a year. And it's a great service to everybody, and we usually provide free animal tags at that time. The only problem is most of the people that get free animal tags don't need to have their tags given out at that time because their vaccinations for their pets are still intact. So the right people are not coming in to get their tags, so to speak. So we were thinking that perhaps if it was free all year long, what we're in the process of doing right now is we've already sent out letters to people whose animals are up for vaccinations in May. So they know, hey, in May, Rover and, Lester, whatever you name your pet, their vaccinations are due. Please go to see your vet. When you do, come in and we'll give you your tags. So that way we can have an ongoing record year-round to make sure all animals are vaccinated. And so that way, in this way, we're hoping to get more people to come in at the appropriate times to keep their vaccinations up to date with City Hall. And that way, poor Clint, who's animal control, bless his heart, it kind of wasn't nice of me, but at one time I was calling him pork chop because every dog in town was biting him every time he was, I thought, my gosh, they're attracted to you. So if we at least know that they're vaccinated, they have their shots, they don't have rabies, it's a safety thing for all of us. So I'm requesting that the council will allow us to not charge.
Of the three topics tonight, I think this is the simplest one to embrace. We're not requiring the pets to get permits, aren't we? Okay. And I like that. Seems like a win.
Mayor, would you like me to complicate it for you?
Scott,
I'm getting ready to.
You're on a roll. Go.
Well,
you have 30
okay,
seconds.
We'll let Delane complicate it. 'Cause
So,
she knows,
Janice, can your office handle extra duty again?
We're going to do it. We're committed to this because we kind of feel bad every year when we do the 2 annual events with the Humane Society because although the heart is in the right place, it's really not helping anyone because it's just people who already have their vaccinations getting more tags, and it's not really efficient. So we'd like to be more efficient. And so I've talked to the ladies, and we really want to do this. We've been kind of embraced this idea.
Thank you. All right. Well, at this time, it is 8:35.
Are we going to vote on this?
Did we decide? Okay, would someone like to make a motion or move that we pass the ordinance to do the year-round?
I make a motion that we approve the ordinance to eliminate the license tag fees for our residents-owned dogs and cats.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you. All right. All right. At this time, at 8:37, I would like to end our meeting briefly as we go into executive session. It will only be to discuss the wire transfer topic, and there's a list of things I have to state.
Yeah, Mayor, you should state that.
Here they are.
Spurs are up 26-21.
All right.
I'm sorry?
We will convene
Spurs are up 26-21.
in closed session as authorized by Section 551.071 of the Texas Government Code to consult with its attorney on matters in which the duty of the attorney to the City Council of the Texas Disciplinary Rules of Professional Conduct of the State Bar of Texas clearly conflicts with the Open Meetings Act, specifically signs wire transfer fraud. All right.
What time did you state, Mayor?
8:37.
Thank you.
Let's run down the hall.
Oh my God.
Attention, ladies and gentlemen. We convened our executive session at 8:57 p.m. Now, do I have to read an illegal statement to say in addition to that, or can I conclude our meeting for tonight?
We're back in open session now.
Oh, thank you all. Tanya, Debbie, thank you all for attending and sticking around. Thank you. Meeting's adjourned at 8:58. All right, thank you all. Go Spurs, go.
Sweet, Tanya.
Okay.